Welcome to Violent Vinyl Radio, where we break down the best hair metal albums from the 80s and the 90s. So grab that volume knob, crank it up, and enjoy the show.
Showtime. Welcome to Violent Vinyl Radio. I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First up, the podcaster holding all the aces, Dangerous Dave.
Are you ready to rock, children of the night?
And last but not least, the podcaster who likes the dark side of the beat, Lisa.
How do I follow that? Hi, guys.
The mission of this show is for us to introduce each other and you, the listeners, to albums and bands which you may never have heard before, while also discussing the classics. And on occasion, not as often as before, we will ruthlessly insult each other's musical taste, so sit back and enjoy the show. Okay, before we get started, I would like to welcome some new listeners. We have new listeners in Zambia, known for their goat cheese crepes and high-end peppermint schnapps. And we also have new listeners in Russia, known for Dolph Lundgren and the KGB. So welcome. I don't know if those facts are correct, especially the goat cheese crepes and the high-end peppermint schnapps. Whatever. Tonight, we will be discussing the self-titled 7th studio album by Whitesnake, produced by Mike Stone and Keith Olsen, released on March 23rd of 1987 on EMI/Geffen/CBS Sony Records. The album peaked at the number 2 spot on the U.S. Billboard 200. The band's lineup was as follows: the mighty David Coverdale on vocals, John Sykes, guitar and backing vocals. Holy shit, John Sykes, right?
Yeah,
Neil
unbelievable.
Murray. Yeah, dude. Neil Murray on bass, and Ainsley Dunbar on drums and percussion, and Don Airy on keyboards. But these aren't the guys in the video shoot for the album, right? Like, you watch the videos and you think you're getting Vivian Campbell, Rudy Sarzo, Adrian Vandenberg, and Tommy Aldridge, which at the time would have been a super group. I'm not sure what this album would have sounded like if it had been those guys, though, right? Would it have been better? Would it have been worse? It would have been different, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, but keep listening. There's a little bit of a couple of those guys sprinkled on the album.
Sprinkled for sure. Yeah. All right. Now I have another observation, but we'll get into it when we get into it. Okay. Let's do some quick band facts on this one. I just have one. So David Coverdale was personally in debt to the tune of about $3 million by the time he began work on the band's self-titled 7th album, which we are discussing here. But fortunately for David, the album was a smash hit, but it was held at second place on the Billboard 200, only behind Michael Jackson's Bad. There were actually 2 others, but I couldn't fucking track them down, so let's just stick with Bad for now. And this turned things around for the singer, and the album eventually sold 8 million copies in the U.S. alone. So yeah, this one put David Coverdale on the map and set him up to not have to paint apartments for a living. Dave, what do you got?
All right, got a couple things. Guitarist John Sykes, who was a former member of new wave of British heavy metal stars Tigers of Pantang, nice. And also the Thunder and Lightning era incarnation of Thin Lizzy, along with bassist Neil Murray, were both officially confirmed as members of Whitesnake in January 1984. The duo re-recorded their predecessors' parts for the U.S. remix version of the Slide It In album.
Great album.
Yeah. A&R executive John Kalodner, who had been a longtime fan of Coverdale's, got involved with the group around 1982. He convinced David Geffen to sign the group and also convinced Coverdale to re-record two of the songs from the Saints and Sinners album, which we did back in the Breaking Vinyl days, Here I Go Again and Crying in the Rain, which he thought had great potential with better production and arranging.
Oh, and they struck hard on that, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
In early 1985, Coverdale and Sykes began writing this album based out of the south of France, and were joined by Murray, who helped with the arrangements. Much of the album had been recorded by early 1986. However, reported sinus infections, not drug-related, according to David Coverdale, collapsed septum, surgery, and rehabilitation held up the recording of vocals. Sykes has disputed this, claiming Coverdale was just suffering from nerves and that he used every excuse possible not to record his vocals. By late 1986, production on the record was mostly finished. Coverdale claims during the time of his vocal issues, John Sykes tried to have him replaced. John Sykes denies this allegation.
Nice, John Sykes.
Yeah.
I also had a bad nasal infection at one point.
From 1986 to 1992.
Yes. That was the time frame exactly.
I was also 130 pounds, but...
Yes, I was.
Yep. Between the recording of the album and the time of its promotion/tour, the entire band was fired, and Coverdale recruited, as we said, Adrian Vanderberg, Tommy Aldridge, Vivian Campbell, formerly of Dio, and bassist Rudy Sarzo, formerly of Quiet Riot, into the band. This new lineup would appear in all the promotional materials for the forthcoming album. Whitesnake also adopted a new image more in line with glam metal bands of the time in order to appeal more to American audiences. When asked about this makeover, Coverdale responded, "I'm competing with people like John Bon Jovi. I've got to look the part." Yeah. Fair enough. I'm looking at the videos right now, and I think these guys single-handedly kept both Aquanet and floor-length duster coats in business throughout 100%. This time.
100%.
The album is titled Whitesnake, but alternatively titled 1987 in Europe and Serpens Albus in Japan. I think that means Whitesnake.
In Latin, yes, it does.
Okay. The Euro version had a different song order and two additional songs, Looking for Love and You're Gonna Break My Heart Again. The band loves reusing stuff. The 1977 David Coverdale solo album was also titled, two words, Whitesnake.
Nice. Good name.
And then, I got one last one. I'm probably hogging up all the facts here, but, well, we can't talk about Whitesnake without mentioning Tawny Kitaen. She appeared in 3 of the videos from this album, Still of the Night, Is This Love, and Here I Go Again, all in 1987, while she was dating David Coverdale. The pair married in 1989 and divorced in 1991. Whoops.
Nice.
She had also appeared in a Rat video and on 2 of their album covers, as well as acting in the films Bachelor Party and Witchboard. She died on May 7th, 2021, at the age of 59 of heart disease.
Yikes. She was great in Bachelor Party. I love that movie. Dave, you a Bachelor Party fan?
I've seen it. It was pretty good.
Okay. Lisa, what do you got?
Well, I'm glad that Dave finished with Tawny because I am going to start with Tawny.
Okay.
This album was their 7th album, right? So they had a lot of history behind them. And granted, the band was redone and rebuilt many times over that. But, you know, Coverdale alone had a lot of history behind him. He was already a pretty seasoned musician, but really didn't get a lot of fame before this. Until what happened? Until Tawny came into the picture. When Tawny appeared in his videos and by his side, this is when the band blew up, right? Yep. Tawny would go on to describe him as a narcissistic idiot who used her to get famous. And let's talk about that for a moment, because I don't think that Whitesnake would be where they are today if it wasn't for her appearance in the band. And if you look throughout history, there's a lot of women who have inspired men, you know, helped them, appeared next to them, done things like Tawny did. She did this for Rat too. She was dating Robin Crosby in Rat. Yep. And she really made this band. I don't think people would have noticed them. Remember that Here I Go Again on the Saints and Sinners album was released as a single and had a video. Did anyone watch it? No.
Nope.
They watched it when Tawny came along. And, when you look back at their history, there isn't a lot of times when David Coverdale talks about his band and mentions the important part that Tawny played in it. But she really made this band. And there's kind of a parallel with Jane's Addiction.
Yes.
Very recently, Casey Nicolai has come out and spoke about her contribution in time with Jane's Addiction. She was basically the artistic collaborator with Perry in the beginning, creating art and music and videos with them. And when the relationship broke up, she was written out of their history. And all of this time, I've been waiting for her to show up again.
Wait, but Lisa, she was written out of their history, and so was all their good music. So there you go.
Absolutely. When she was gone, they went downhill. She
100%.
was the muse.
Yes.
And, I know Delyn isn't here today, but I know she and I have kind of a strong opinion on this. Both of us have been muses to men and made them kind of what they are and have been unceremoniously written out of their history. And I think that's why I'm starting with Tawny and not with, big ego narcissist Dave in this whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd I do?
I'm sorry that you share a name with him.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other one.
The other big ego narcissist.
Fucking
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah. So I also want to comment a bit about they weren't a glam band before this album. Obviously,
No.
you kind of touched on that. They were a blues band
Yeah.
essentially, right? So
70s classic rock.
Yeah, 70s rock band.
right. So they dressed up as a glam band
Yes,
for
they did.
most of the rest of their career. Let's call it dress. They costumed. This was not who they were. And when I first saw them on, MTV was the first place I saw them. I had no idea about their history. I honestly had never heard their albums before. I looked at them and I went, they don't look comfortable. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't look like what they want to be. Why are they doing it that way? It doesn't fit. So we know that Dave Coverdale has an obsession with Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin and very much, wants to be him. So
Maybe a little.
yeah. So he dressed up as a glam band because of who he was competing with. Later in his career, he dressed up as Robert Plant in Coverdale Plant, that project. And his whole
Coverdale
career
Page.
kind of Coverdale Page. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah. Coverdale. I have it written down. Coverdale Page. But what it reminds me of is if you've seen the movie Rockstar, and Marky Mark plays Chris, and Chris is in a cover band, and he gets to play with his idols and become like the real lead singer of, what was it, Steel Dragon, I think it was? Izzy is in Steel Dragon, and he gets to be in the band. And I feel like that's what Robert Plant was all the way. He never had a unique sound or image of his own. He was putting on the images of other people.
Coverdale, not Robert.
Yeah,
I'm
Coverdale.
sorry.
No, I know. They know.
I can't. I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and I'm thinking Robert Plant in my head because he's like a clone. Like
I knew what you were talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. So that's kind of my opinion of him. They toured. They actually had just finished a tour before this album came out in the same year for the previous album, and jumped right into another tour. They opened for Motley Crue in 1987. I don't know if you caught that one. I did.
I was on that tour. I knew
Excellent.
saw it.
Yeah,
Totally.
and they also toured as headliners in that same year. They've toured pretty steadily over the years. However, what they called their farewell tour in 2022, there were a lot of canceled dates, and the last I don't want to say half, but I think the last 3 or 4 dates on the tour were completely canceled. So they didn't have like a farewell kind of send off, right? The last time I saw them, I think, was in 2015 at Hampton Beach Casino. That's where they were. I don't think you caught that one either, did you? You're looking at me blankly.
No,
No?
I've never seen them live.
And on their website, there are no future dates scheduled. So I'm kind of assuming that they are essentially in retirement at this point. And
I hope so.
Yeah, Dave Coverdale is 72 at this point. But one of the reasons that I haven't seen this band as much as all of the other bands back in the day is because they are always toured with artists I didn't care too much about. So they toured with Judas Priest, and they toured with Scorpions, and they toured with just bands I didn't like. So I didn't really catch them very often back in the day. What do you think of the album cover? Yeah, that's what I think
It's a
so
little
too.
boring.
It's really
Forgettable.
boring. So
It's
it
forgettable.
was intended to look like a Celtic rune. To me, it looks like
Yep.
one of those wax stamps that you see on the
Yeah.
back of like a letter or something. It was so boring. I don't think I ever looked at it. Like I never even
Looks like a Masonic plate.
Right, it's so boring. And during that time period, remember, Bon Jovi's "Slippery When Wet" had come out the year before. Remember that album cover was censored and replaced, right?
Yep.
And there was, "Open Up and See Us," censored and replaced, like all these exciting album covers. And these guys put out like what looks like a brick wall, right?
Yeah.
And just like ew, yeah.
This is not Sniff the Glove.
no, exactly, yeah. So.
Lisa, but it's funny what you were saying about how Whitesnake was a rock band, and these guys, Coverdale was like denim and leather and jeans and motorcycle boots, and his band was very 70s looking. Had they come out with Still of the Night dressed like that with his older band, it wouldn't have hit. It wouldn't have mattered how good the song was. It wouldn't have happened.
And
for him.
Tawny wouldn't have dated him.
And Tawny wouldn't have been part of it.
Yeah.
And none of it would have happened. So David did what he had to do to get his band on the map and to get this album out there. And it worked perfectly. And yeah, was it Halloween? Of course it was.
Yeah.
And did they look uncomfortable? Of course they did. But this is what sold the album. And he had a very smart PR guy behind him that said, if you guys want to make $1 million, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I have one more. I don't know if it's like fact or hearsay. So we know, obviously, you've mentioned that he basically fired the entire band in the middle of this process. And the video is a whole new band. Every single person who speaks about their time working with him, not just this band that was fired, but pretty much everybody else, from producers to people working at venues to girlfriends, describe him as a really difficult person. And obviously Tawny called him an idiot, but there's a lot of people calling him even worse than that. So he's a very difficult person to work with. You would think
Allegedly.
You would think that someone with I'm not a musician, maybe I shouldn't be commenting on this, disclaimer, he did something with his music and went out there and put it out. I haven't, so who am I to poo-poo
Right.
on all of this? But you would think somebody in that position would have some sense of gratitude or some sense of thankfulness for being able to create art for a living, right? But every interaction that I've read about with him has been difficult, uncomfortable, and bad. So
Well, this sounds like the story of most frontmen of most of these rock bands that we're going to be talking about. People say the same
this
about
is a
Perry
pretty
Farrell.
extreme. And this is an extreme one, though. I couldn't
Yeah.
find a good story.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, when we did the Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking album, it was all the same thing, though. That just a prick to work with. Hoarding the money, hoarding the fame, not giving out kudos where they belong. I mean, you hear it over and over again. All right,
that's all I've got.
Let's do some quick opening thoughts. So I was aware of Whitesnake before this album. I mean, Slide It In, fucking amazing. I junked on that album before I ever saw this. But my biggest memory of this album, well, two memories. One was watching it on Arsenio Hall. So they played live on Arsenio. I mean, live, I'm going to use quotations. They lip synced on Arsenio Hall. And I remember seeing the band and being like, holy shit, Vivian Campbell, Rainbow in the Dark, fucking love them. Adrian Vandenberg, you got your drummer. I mean, I knew all these guys, Quiet Riot. I mean, I was so excited. I'm like, this fucking band is amazing. And then, David Coverdale. And at the time, we were all metalheads. We were all glam hair metal dudes. So I was on board with the new revamped David Coverdale and his new revamped metal band. So great. And then my other biggest memory was, I've shared this on Breaking Vinyl, so if you would like to hear the story, which I highly recommend you go listen to, it was when I hitchhiked up to Portland, Maine to see them play with Motley Crue. So go check that out if you haven't already. Dave, memories of the album.
I have heard the album before. Definitely am most familiar, however, with the big hits that were unescapable on the radio and MTV. And honestly, that was at least half the album. Definitely didn't remember the, deep cuts as well, but, I have heard it before.
I remembered every single song on this album. I could not believe it. I haven't listened to this album in 25 years. I mean, but I was stunned. I was stunned when I listened to this album. And dude, they're still using these songs in like Geico commercials and shit. It's still relevant, like right now. I hear it on TV every day. Lisa, what are your memories of the album? You heard the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the whole thing. I owned it back in the day. Like I said, I did not know the band before this album. I had no concept of them before glam. I didn't know they weren't glam before this. And even back when I bought the album, I didn't know that. I don't think I even scratched the cassette cover on this one. I played it so few times. I did play it through, I would say probably, a handful of times, but then was focused mostly on the hits and honestly, mostly on the videos because that's really what this band was about. The music, Whitesnake was a little too bluesy and standard rock for me. There's other music at the time for me that was more important, like Motley Crue was out and the difference between these guys, though, I bought the album because this was their 7th album and they had a lot of backing. Whereas some of the other music we were listening to at the time, it was first album for the band. They were hungry and wanted it. This one I was like, oh, they should be, seasoned and good at this because they're so far into it. But, it didn't work for me too much. This is one of the few bands from the era that I have not seen in concert repeatedly. I can probably count on 2 hands how many times total I've seen them.
2 hands? I've seen them once.
Yeah, I think I've seen them
shit.
probably 8 times where, go to like LA Guns and we're in the hundreds.
Lisa, I love it. That's why you're on the show.
I don't really like
music.
these guys, but I've seen them 25 times.
Yeah. I know. She's like, I don't really like. I haven't seen them. I probably counted on like both hands. I'm like, both hands? Okay.
Like I've seen Skid Row, into the multi-hundreds. This band, it's just not my thing.
So everybody, that should give you a little insight on why she's on the show and why she knows so much about every fucking album we talk about.
Live music is life.
I was laughing with a friend of mine that listens to the show talking about you. And he's like, how the fuck does she know everything about everything? He was like, in the Faster Pussycat episode, she's like, so Timmy's second uncle's cousin's babysitter knew this. Like, I was like, dude, I have no fucking idea. I'm like, she just knows everything. Go with it. Okay, let's rate the singer. As always, it's 1 through 100, 25% on hair, 25% on stage and style, and 50% on vocal talent. So that is stage presence and style, and 50% on vocal talent. I had to push a little bit more on the vocal talent on this one to get him where I wanted him. So here we go. First off, I have a true or false for you two. So you're just going to say true or false, okay? Are these real Whitesnake lyrics? All of it. All of you women better lift up your skirt. I'm sorry. All of you women better lift up your skirts and run, because I aim to shoot my pistol and fire like a Gatling gun.
Oh my
Is
God.
that real? Is that real, or did I make that up?
I'm pretty sure that's real.
I think that's real too.
Okay, so that is real, and this is going to ding him 1 point right off the bat, just for writing those lyrics and putting them on an album. That's 1 point off. Dave, hang on a second. Okay. Here we go. So for me, Dave Coverdale has always felt old, right? Like he always felt old to me. And his face has always been a bit of a sun-dried raisin.
Oh, no.
He had that poofy perm. It's visually a lot to take in, okay? His stage moves are a little old-fashioned in the bad way, especially that little, like, straight leg with the toe point. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
I did not love his wardrobe at this point in his career, but he does have a kick-ass rock and roll voice, and his voice on this album in particular is absolute fire. So I'm going to give him, and I think he would appreciate this, a 69. Mostly,
All right.
Mostly for his studio work. Dave, go ahead.
Okay, so we got a solid 21 on the hair. He always had pretty good hair. Although I watched live video from 84. It was natural looking and got flat and sweaty by the end of the concert. In contrast, in a live 1987 video, it was unnaturally large and remained so through the end of the concert.
Yeah.
Did he change to a wig?
Aqua wig.
Oh, good
I
call.
don't know.
I didn't even think of that.
It looked pretty wiggy from the video I saw.
Interesting.
Yeah.
20 for style and stage presence. Yes, he borrowed a lot from Robert Plant, relied on the flipping the mic stand aerobics, maybe a little too much, and had kind of a creepy, leathery old man thing going on. But still pretty cool as long as you were not the teenage girl he was leering at. 40 on vocal talent. He almost always sounded great, especially around the time of this album. He was running at 200%. 81 total score.
Wow.
Wow,
Okay.
you
That's a little
guys.
high.
Yeah.
No, listen, honestly, I had this at like a 52, but then that was before I listened to this album. And then after I finished the album, I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that. It's better than that.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, go ahead.
Okay, well, just like you did, my first note on here is he appeared old to me back in the day. And, I was the teenage girl back then. So the hair, he had great big hair. I didn't like the fringe. Yeah, and, blonde like everybody else. But there was a lot of good hair in this band, to be fair. So, the hair was okay. What I didn't like was that his stage presence, how he moved, was basically a clone of Robert Plant. And I don't feel like he had any, of his own talent in that sense. He was acting out someone else's concert is what I saw.
Poorly.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and I felt like I'll say this a lot about him through this is that I would have rather seen what he could really do rather than him trying to be someone else.
Yeah.
The clothes were good though, and I know you said you didn't really like the clothes. So here's my thought on the clothes. A lot of bands at that time were kind of making their own clothes, sourcing them. You couldn't get clothes like this in the mainstream. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it feels like somebody was designing costumes for him professionally.
Oh, they
so
were.
like he had the
Oh,
fringed
yeah, I'm
jackets
sure.
and the bedazzled pants and everything had studs on it. And he often, when him and Tawny would step out together, they would be in matching, leather outfits. Like
Yeah.
it was very staged. And whereas other rock stars were being themselves and just wearing cool clothes that they kind of put together, styled themselves. I feel like someone styled him and it wasn't his style and he didn't look comfortable in it. So
He looked like one of the fucking Golden Girls.
yeah, and his makeup was bad, let's just say. And guy liner is important to me, so I'm just going to go makeup was bad. But I never felt like we really knew who David Coverdale was, and I have gone back since and listened to the previous music and seen what he was like before this. And I think he was more comfortable before he kind of put on.
He was a totally different guy.
Totally different guy, yeah.
So much tougher.
Yeah.
Just tough.
Yeah, so I'm giving him a 52.
I was with you. I should have gone 52. Mm-hmm. I was at like 54. We're good. We're going to leave him where he is. Okay. So I don't know how we've been doing this. You guys have kind of just taken the reins on this. So add it up. Tell me where he is. However you guys want to do it.
Okay, David Coverdale on the Violent Vinyl Frontman leaderboard has a total score of 67.33, putting him at number 4, the bottom of the list, below Trent Reznor.
See, I think that our system works. Because 62 is right where he belongs.
Yeah.
Had I gone 52, it would have been too low. Because I was saying, if this was fantasy football, he's fine. He can throw for a bunch of yards, but I'd be looking for a different quarterback. Okay. All right. Let's do the track. And who was above him again, Lise?
Trent Reznor.
And who was below him?
Nobody. He's at the bottom.
Oh,
4 out of 4.
Yeah, there's only 4 on the list right now,
Okay.
so it's not fair to be the bottom on a list of 4. It's not really bottom.
Shit. That's funny.
So,
I don't know. I have a feeling he's going to drop like a rock. Okay. Let's break this album down. So, track 1, Crying in the Rain. Okay. So, right off the bat, this song and the whole album really is sexy as hell and full of testosterone and mojo, similar to Austin Powers or John Travolta in 1983. If you're not careful, this album could accidentally impregnate your girlfriend. I believe that.
Nice.
This song is killer. From the slick guitar playing to the memorable lyrics and powerful vocals, we're off to a hot start here, in my opinion. Dave, what do you got on this first track?
Yes, a great opener to the album. Pretty bluesy, even though, according to David Coverdale, John Sykes, the guitar player, hated the blues. Some sweet guitar pinch harmonics contained within the riffs, one of Sykes' trademarks. We also hear a few other guitar flourishes that make older Whitesnake sound like old news. Impressive guitar solo with a wide vibrato, another trademark, and some thunderous drumming. Kind of a long track at 5 minutes, 36 seconds. Pretty sure 2 minutes of that is guitar solo.
It's fine. I love the guitar
I'll
solo.
take it.
Dude, Dave, isn't it amazing how updated this album sounds compared to the last one, with a lot of the same, some of the same musicians played, right, from the previous album?
I don't think it's anybody the same. Maybe
Really?
Neil Murray, maybe? I'm not
Maybe.
sure if he played on the old one. But just him and obviously Coverdale, but...
Yeah, I've never heard a band come this far in one album, between albums. It's amazing. Lisa, what did you think of the first track?
Oh, you guys are going to be so happy. We're finally going to have something to disagree on here.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. First of all, I hate the name of this song. I think it's super lame and really cheesy. I didn't remember this song instantly from back in the day, but when I did this re-listen, the first thing that happens in this song is like the vocals come in. And I was not ready for that. Okay? I wasn't
Completely unprepared.
warm me up before you throw the vocals in my face. Okay?
Ready.
I was not ready for the song. Needed an intro. I was not ready for the song to start. And it feels very narcissistic to me of him to start the album with his vocals rather than an intro to the song that everybody would expect. And, maybe it's something cool that, is different than other things, but I didn't like it and I wasn't ready for it, and I'm already angry at this point.
Fucking
Okay?
Lisa dropped her tuna fish sandwich. She was like, I wasn't ready.
Oh my God. Yes. Okay. The lyrics are super boring. I feel like I'm wasting my time lighting candles in the wind. Come on. Right?
I loved it.
No. And they're delivered in this extremely boring, emotionless way. Okay.
Oh, no way.
Like Trent Reznor delivered his lyrics, even if they were plain and regular, in a very emotional and personal way. This guy was singing someone else's song. I know that he wrote the song, but it felt like he was singing someone else's song. Okay. The guitars were fantastic. I love the guitars in this band. It's probably going to be a comment I'm going to make on every song. I absolutely love it. The drums were good here. So here's a comment I'm never going to make again on this album. So the high notes that he hits in this song are screechy and pitchy. You're never going to hear me say this again because generally speaking, he has a good voice, right? But in this particular song, it's bad, right? Now
there is a song on the album that's bad, but this wasn't it. For me.
This one I cringed a little bit when he hit the high notes. Now, in the end of the song, here we go again, is his frickin' vocals. Okay, so he starts the song with his vocals, he ends the song with his vocals. It's very narcissistic to me, and I'm already in a bad way. The only thing I remembered about this song was the chorus from back in the day, and I was able to sing along with that, but I remember nothing about the rest of the song. The lyrics are completely forgettable.
Oh, I couldn't disagree with you more. The second this song started and he started singing, I was like, oh, fuck, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give me a little foreplay before you start screaming.
No, I wanted David Coverdale inside me immediately. Okay, let's do this. Track number 2, Bad Boys. This opening guitar is so good. Not only the riff, but this over-the-top, super thick 80s guitar sound. It is gloriously dated and perfect for this song. And I would argue that Sykes invented Zakk Wylde's guitar sound, specifically the squeal. If you told me this was Zakk Wylde playing on this album, I would believe it 100%. Zakk Wylde heard this album, was like, I'm stealing that guitar sound, and nobody questioned it. Unbelievable. Next up, rhythm section. From this double bass drum to this pounding bass, all dressed with these slippery Sykes guitar licks. It is totally kicking my ass. The guitar solo is incredible, and it has this beautiful transition back into the chorus. Dave, did you catch it?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh my God. I had to back it up and play it twice. I'm like, that is how you fucking bring a guitar solo back into a chorus. And finally, I loved the vocals and the lyrics. And yeah, these lyrics are all, again, he's a one-trick pony. He always writes about women. It's just what he does. It's his game. But for cheesy fucking 80s chick vocals and lyrics, I think he's delivering the goods. He's bringing it. Dave, what'd you think of this second track?
Cool riff, more great drums. The lyrics wise sounds a little pedestrian. Songwriting, lyrics, not much new here, not much going on. I very much hear what you're saying about the Zakk Wylde thing. I'm willing to bet. I don't remember ever hearing Zakk talk about John Sykes, but I'm willing to bet he was a big fan around this time because they do have a pretty similar style and sound. Guitar has some nice moving licks where most guys would just chug on a basic chord. You know, he's moving all around. Huge sounding solo. Although the tone seems to be mixed a little thin and low in the mix. That's kind of unfortunate. The sound of the band is savage. They are fighting for their life here, going for the throat, and it shows.
I loved it. Lisa, second track. Tell us what you loved about it.
Okay, I'm already angry at this point from the first song. However, I love the opening of this song. I love the guitars. I even love the little wolf cry vocals at the beginning of the song. That was all great. The lyrics are cheesy, but not in a bad way cheesy like the first song was. This is a good, cheesy 80s song. This is the kind of stuff, you know, a wild in the street, wild in the city. This is what I want to hear in a cheesy 80s song. It doesn't mean that, you know, he's maybe not the greatest lyricist, because it's pretty generic, but it's fun, and I liked it, and it's good. The guitars are the highlight in this song. So riddle me this. The guitar solo... I want to say it's in two parts, right? There's a beginning, like a first part that's a certain way, and then it completely switches, and then it's a second way. And in my head, you know, I'm watching the video, and there's two guitarists, and I feel like there's two very different styles. But I know on the album there is one guitarist.
Yeah.
Is he playing both of those styles? Because they're very different.
Oh yeah. Let me just take a quick listen here because I'm not as familiar with this one. I'm going to fire this up in my headphones and we'll just...
Okay, so while you do that, I'll keep talking. Yes. The vocal performance was not memorable. It was fine, and he hit the notes, and he can sing. It just doesn't stand out as, like, unique at all. And the delivery of the lyrics, even though I think that the lyrics are fun and fine and cool, and you can sing along with them, I feel like he's reading them off a teleprompter, almost like they're not even his. He's just kind of delivering them. They're not personal at all. In general, I like the song, mainly because of the music. You know, forget the vocals and forget the lyrics. I like the music. I love the guitars on this song. So,
I mean, but Lisa, this is like if you go to like the local Chinese food place, like you know what you're going to get. You're going to get like Chinese food.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be a little greasy and like, okay, but it's like, I came for the Chinese food.
Yeah, and it's fine. Like, and I don't have bad feelings about this song at all. I think it's a fun 80s song. Not something that I remember from back in the day, but just fine.
Yeah, like if I want to hear like some really good lyrics like Nothing Shocking, I'll put Nothing Shocking on. But when I put on Whitesnake, it's time for some chasing fucking as Corey Feldman would say, what was it, chasing lace or whatever he said.
God, yep.
So that's where I'm at with this. I'm fine.
So yeah, the guitar solo sounds like he starts off playing, and then he switches the pickup, to the neck pickup, and then so that gives it like a different tone, and then it changes again to like kind of a harmony guitar thing. But he's just like multi-tracked guitar solo.
I know that one player could play that, but in my head, in a live performance, there's two players sharing a solo and working together really well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his plan was for recreating that live, but he didn't have to worry about it because
he was gone.
They got split up, and then they had two guitar players. So
you got to wonder with guys like Adrian Vandenberg and Vivian Campbell, right? Like when they did "Still of the Night," the video, And you got I think it's Adrian Vandenberg's doing the violin thing on the guitar.
Oh, we're going to talk about that a lot.
Yeah. So and then and then they split this solo up between the two of them. But that fucking Vivian Campbell was probably like, I could play it better. I don't want to fucking mimic this. I don't want people thinking this is me. I could do better.
Right.
So I'm surprised they were actually able to get Vivian Campbell and Adrian Vandenberg to put their faces behind those solos.
Remember that Adrian Vandenberg turned down the gig at first and had to be convinced to join the band, and he did eventually once Whitesnake blew up with this album.
Oh, I'm sure now he is thanking God that he did, because the guy would be broke. Okay. Track number 3, Still of the Night. Okay, kids, here we go. So this is one of the best intros ever. I fucking love this song. Like, this is, I wish I wrote it. It's fucking killer. Still of the night, I hear the wolf howl, honey. It's fucking great. Coverdale, he is fucking hauling the mail on this one. Incredible lyrics, incredible vocals. The production is fucking huge and amazing. This is as good as it gets for just fucking 80s hair metal rock and roll. It's killer. Dave.
All right. Yeah, here is the big one. This was the first single off the album. The song just rips. Great riffs, some nice space in there. Definite Led Zeppelin vibe, of course, especially the middle, whole lot of love section.
Totally.
We got some chimey, clean guitar parts, a little synth keyboard, and some stratospheric screams from Mr. Coverdale. The synth strings section was dreamed up during the writing sessions. Definitely adds some extra dimension to the song. Also, in the video, lets Adrian Vandenberg pretend to be Jimmy Page, faking with the violin bow in the video. The guitar chords that come in after that, when it kind of slams back in, are, yes, Zeppelin inspired, but are positively huge, and with some ripping guitar solo over it. Impressive bass work at the end of the song. If you listen closely, he's really moving around there a lot.
Dave, do you think they really used the violin bow in the studio?
No, absolutely not. That was a keyboard.
Really?
That was a synth.
No, I don't want to believe that.
Oh, all right. Yeah, no. It was fucking... Dude, it was
definitely violins.
Oh,
Thank you. Okay. Lisa, what do you got?
Okay, this was the first song I ever heard by Whitesnake. I absolutely love this song. The opening is absolutely brilliant. There's like the guitars and the cymbal click, and then that vocal comes in, and it's full of emotion, and he believes what he's saying, and those lyrics are personal, and I believed him. And there's like, he even does a little bit of like screeching in there almost. It's absolutely beautiful. A little bit Led Zeppelin, but I didn't care in this case because it was also his and good. The part where he goes, waiting for the night to come is like one of the best like vocal performances of the 80s, really.
So good.
It's brilliant. And there is, other than Adrian's violin appearance in this, that's probably one of the classic 80s glam moments of all time is that line. So let's go to Adrian Vandenberg. So like I said, the first time I heard them was on MTV. It was the video. It wasn't like on the radio or something. And when Adrian Vandenberg got down on his knees and bent back and played that guitar with the violin, that was the end of everything for me. He was my new idol. He was perfection. I couldn't have cared less that Dave Coverdale was standing on that stage. The whole thing was about Adrian Vandenberg. It is absolutely awesome. It is another quintessential 80s moments that I will like never forget. Tawny's in the video, so obviously one of the reasons that this is great. The violin thing too, just one more point about that. Back then, I was a concert musician. I was, classically trained on the piano. I was playing, cello and violin and things like that. This was the first time that I saw kind of a crossover of concert instruments with rock and roll, and it put into my head, like, how can I now maybe be in a rock band even though I'm not a rock musician? Can I work my talents in somehow? Because, oh my God, he's playing with a bow. I learned guitar from my dad. I wasn't very good at it, but maybe if I played it with a bow, I could have been, right? And this was kind of the opening to me of crossing over to artists like Vanessa Mae, who was putting out maybe a couple years after this, but was putting out electric violin albums, doing remixes of classical music into rock with an electric violin, and that was kind of the open door for me for that.
Awesome.
The solo is perfect, the music is perfect, the drums are perfect, the lyrics are perfect. There is nothing bad about this song. It is one of the greatest 80s song ever. You will see it on every 80s compilation album. You will hear it in every 80s cover band, and deservedly so, one of the greats of all time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, the production is almost as important as the song itself, because if this had been recorded in the style that they were using when they did Slide It In, this song would not be the hit it is today, right?
And did you notice it's a very long song, too? And
thank God.
Back in the day, that wasn't very common. Like, radio songs were max 4 minutes, really, and this one goes over 6, I think. And it was good. Like, I didn't want to stop listening, and I listened to the whole thing even today without even thinking, oh, this is too long. It's not too long. More. Give me more. Make it longer.
Yeah. Literally when it's this good, you can get away with whatever you want, Okay, track number 4. Here I go again. This is just pure kick-ass 80s rock and roll. Again, great lyrics. More incredible guitar playing from John Sykes. I mean, incredible. I was blown away by these guitars. I forgot how good it was, and I honestly didn't even know it was John Sykes playing until I wrote it up for the podcast. I was like, oh, fuck, he's good. The keyboard intro, not for me, like, personally, I don't love these kinds of keyboards, but it was perfect for the time. This is what was selling this album to people. The guy who produced this album just knew what people wanted to hear at the time, and he produced them up a fucking winner. Absolutely perfect from a lyric standpoint. Perfect. This song, like I said earlier in the show, it is still relevant today. He sold this song to fucking Geico, and it's amazing, and I still sing along to it when it comes on the stupid commercial. Dave, what do you got?
This is the other huge one. Single number 3 off the album. Get some layered synth sounds. This is vastly superior to the old version that appears on the Saints and Sinners album. Very good vocal. The guitar solo on this one actually was played by Adrian Vandenberg. When the whole split up happened, John Sykes had done the rhythm tracks and some of the most of the solos, but I guess he had not gotten to this one, and Coverdale brought Adrian Vandenberg in to do it. He liked his playing very much and decided to bring him into the new version of the band. It is a great solo.
It's a great solo. It actually stood out to me, you know? Wow.
And then also at the request of their record label, they released a more FM-friendly Here I Go Again radio mix, which is using a completely different band than the guys either who played on the album or who came in as the replacements. Completely other guys.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, check it out.
Cool. Lisa, what'd you think? So far, I want to say, so far, I am 4 for 4. Loving this. What do you got?
So, I don't know if you noticed, but I did my big 80s hair today in honor of Tawny, because this video is Tawny, right?
I cannot see your big 80s hair.
Oh, look.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Big 80s hair, everybody.
Big 80s hair. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. So the only reason that I really remember this song is because, Tawny was the one who brought this song to us, right? It's a great song. It's a great video. Tawny made them who they are today. I'm just going to keep saying that over and over again. To me, this song starts out like as a power ballad, I want to call it. It speeds up, though, in the changes throughout the song, but in my head and in my memory, it still lives as a power ballad, even though it has some higher tempo sections in it, if that makes sense.
No, totally.
It wasn't the same as the songs like "I Remember You" or "Don't Know What You've Got Till It's Gone." Because it changes throughout the song, but it definitely was in that category, and every band needed that back then, right? He wrote this song. Remember, this was on the first album about his breakup with his first wife, Julia, where he is like going off on his own, after a huge breakup. He, of course, came out of that with a lot of debt, with some depression, being unable to write music for a while. So, yeah, so this is a personal song to him. And to me, the lyrics come through as personal because there's actually emotion behind them. Like he's not just reading these off a teleprompter like some of the other songs. He's really delivering these, for real. Everyone I know can sing to this song when you hear it in a club. Everybody knows this song. Everybody remembers, Tawny doing a back walk over on, the hood of his two Jaguars. Like, there's nothing more 80s memorable, than that.
Yeah.
And just to talk about the versions, one of the things I was going to say is Adrian Vandenberg does play on this song. And there is the John Sykes version and there is the Dan Huff version of this song.
Dan Huff was the guitar player on that radio version.
Yeah.
There's not a separate John Sykes version.
Okay.
He plays all the rhythms and stuff.
Okay.
But Vandenberg did the solo.
But there's a third hard to find version of this song somewhere floating out there, is what I read. That even Adrian Vandenberg says he has never heard.
Well,
What
Yeah,
version is
interesting.
that?
So when I read an article, an interview with Adrian Vandenberg talking about this song, he claims he's never even listened to the John Sykes version of this song.
Bullshit.
Well, I think so too. But he also says that there is another version of this song with a completely different band that is like impossible to find out there, but it exists, and he also hasn't heard that one.
Interesting. So, dude, for the video for this, David Coverdale's recreating this, breakup with his ex-wife with the car and everything, right? But in real life, that was like some angry woman crushing the hood of a 1979 Chevy Nova, and he was broke. Okay,
Right? Yeah.
So
Severely in debt.
Yes.
There were no Jaguars.
severely in debt.
Yeah.
He definitely churched that story up a little for the video.
And like,
This new-
and she may have been the first video vixen for a lot of people. I know that like, Hot for Teacher, Linda Mueller was before her.
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown was after her. But,
Yep.
I think Tawny, if you say to somebody, name a video vixen, Tawny is the top of the list.
Dude, they threw Tawny on a yellow fucking Hummer for Bowling with Soup. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Yeah.
She was
Yep.
she was relevant into the 2000s.
Yeah,
Actually,
absolutely.
that was probably the 90s, if I had to guess. But yeah. Okay, track number 5. Give Me All Your Lovin'. So this is, I really didn't think there were any filler songs on this album. I was calling them supporting songs, okay? Because I thought this album was so well fleshed out. So the songs that weren't the hits for me, I'm going to refer to as supporting songs instead of fillers. So I wrote, notice I didn't use the word filler, because this whole album is so well written and so well fleshed out. Every single song slaps in its own way. They're like you guys were saying, they went from like what they were, and they had 6 albums before this. So they had really like every time you do an album, you learn something, what to do, what not to do, right? So by the time they got to this, they had really figured everything out. And they really, every single song is so well crafted. There's no part where I go, I need to go back in the oven for a few minutes. So is this song a hit? No, but it's fucking great. And I really love it a lot. Dave, what do you got?
This one's a pretty good rocker. It's got the signature Whitesnake sound, crazy guitar solo. Unfortunately, kind of a harsh tone on the album version. Really nice mix of shred playing and bluesy melodicism. And I don't know if that's a real word or if I just made it up, but
It's fine.
it's a word now.
Sure.
When the single came out, it's Give Me All Your Love 88 mix. When that was released, the guitar solo was actually replaced on the single by Vivian Campbell, who played in the touring version of this band and the video version. This was the 4th and final single released from the album.
Nice. Lisa.
Oh, so my first note on this is the fourth single from the album, and I am not sure why.
Oh no.
Yeah, I feel like this is a little generic, boring lyrics again. I do like that it's kind of an up-tempo song for the end of side A. I do like kind of that closing. But the emotion in his voice is gone again. The lyrics are delivered kind of blandly, like he's covering. It's almost like a cover song to me. I do like that this is more metal than some of the other songs and less glam, more hard. I like that. There's like almost like a heavy metal double bass playing in one part of the song, which I really liked. The guitar solo is very screeching and much more metal, and much less cabaret like some of the other songs on this this album.
Sure.
The weird thing on this is, so the previous two songs that we heard had really nice 80s keyboards on them that kind of enriched the songs. The keyboards on this song, to me, it ages the song. It brings it backwards into the 70s. It's not enough of an 80s metal song for me. I get why people like it. I can hear this song playing in a bar, in some generic, metal biker bar or something like that. It's catchy. It just isn't all that unique to me. It's not a bad song. It's just not the best song.
Yeah, I like your observation on those keyboards, because if I was going to use any keyboards on this album on one of my songs, these would be the ones. Those other ones for me are just a little gay.
It's really hard to do keyboards on 80s glam, right? Very few bands, we talked about this before, very few bands do it right. Bon Jovi did it right.
Cinderella nailed it.
Yeah, but then you step into some other bands and it ages the music.
Yes, totally. All right, so that ends side A. So if you're listening on vinyl, flip the show over. So this week, just for fun, because Halloween is coming, we're getting close to October, I thought it'd be fun to do a Fast Five. We haven't done one on this show yet. So we're going to do Trick or Treat, Miniature Candy Showdown. Yes, Trick or Treat, Miniature Candy Showdown. And I know that Dave would be washing all this candy down with a nice Mountain Dew blast. So... here we go. Number 1, Snickers or Milky Way? Dave, Snickers or Milky Way?
Either one is fine. If I have to pick, I'll go with Milky Way.
And Lisa?
100% Milky Way.
Okay,
no hesitation.
The correct answer is Snickers, 'cause it's a way better chocolate bar. Okay. And then, of course, if you've never listened to one of my Fast Fives before, my answer is the correct answer. Number 2, Twizzlers or the little bag of Skittles? Dave?
Skittles.
Oh, no, Twizzlers.
Well... this is a tough one, because I do like all the different flavors that come with Skittles, but they aren't just pure sugars. So the correct answer is Twizzlers.
I win.
Classic. Yes, Twizzlers is the correct answer. Number 3, the Big Orange Circus Marshmallow Peanut or a homemade candy apple coated with a razor blade in the middle. Dave, which one is better, the Big Orange Circus Marshmallow Peanut or a fucking candy apple with a razor blade in the middle?
Nobody wants those, but I'm going candy apple. I'll eat around the razor.
Oh my God, totally candy apple with the razor blade. As a goth girl, where it's Halloween every day, I'm fine with razor blades and a little blood, but there's no way that I'm going to eat a circus peanut.
Gross.
You guys totally got it too, because the correct answer is the homemade candy apple with a razor blade in the middle.
The correct answer is anything that's not a circus peanut.
Yeah, and you're walking home with your little fucking pillowcase full of candy, and the white van pulls up and offers you some more. You've got your razor blade. You're gonna get home. Okay. Number 4, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup or Kit Kat? Dave, which is better?
Peanut butter cup.
And Lisa?
Oh, it's hard, but I'm going to pick peanut butter cup.
Yeah, I mean, you're a savage if you're not taking that peanut butter cup, okay?
I do
Best
love
candy.
Kit Kats, though. They are delicious.
I do, too, and I tried to make all of these battles fair because Kit Kat is top of my list.
Yeah.
And finally, the Butterfinger or the Twix bar. Dave, which is better?
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Oh, and I'm picking a Twix, left or right side.
Oh, shit. Okay, and the correct answer is Butterfinger because
Oh,
it's
come
fucking
on.
delicious.
Yikes.
No, that fucking taffy shit gets stuck in my fucking teeth. I
Bart
can't eat
Simpson
the
approved. Come on.
Yeah, Butterfinger's the way to go.
I think
All right,
we need
guys.
to do more Halloween stuff as a goth girl. I
Yes.
approve of all of this. So.
Okay, we'll add some more. Like I did Methods of Murder last week for the Trick or Treat movie podcast.
Perfect.
So next show we will bring that over here because we don't have much of a crossover, and we will do Methods of Murder on this show next week. So tune in for that. Okay, so side B, track 6, Is This Love? So this one straddles the line for me of being next level. And I can feel Coverdale's love for Robert Plant here as he is trying to pull off his own version of Big Log, which I absolutely love. And Big Log crushes this song. Big Log's one of my fucking favorites. I absolutely love that song. Go listen to it if you haven't heard it. But yeah, this is straddling the line. This is getting away from the 80s hair metal and getting back towards just like a good pop rock fucking song. Guitars, music, everything is so cleanly played. When I say that, I don't mean tone. I mean just technically, it's all so fucking good. Lyrics and vocals, unbelievably, deliberately crafted and performed. The guitar solo could not possibly be any more memorable or melodic. I was singing every note along in my head as it was playing. I hadn't heard the song in forever. This song is absolutely killer. Dave, what'd you think?
Yeah, this song was the second single released off the album. Really nice, multi-layered, clean guitar work here. Top-notch power ballad. Killer guitar solo, full of feeling. The song was made for 80s radio and the nudie bar.
Oh, fuck yeah. Lisa, did you have the same feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice power ballad. It's an interesting choice for the beginning of side A. You don't often open a side with a slow song, and this is a slow song all the way through, right? Pure power ballad. Tawny's in the video in her see-through white dress, which is incredibly awesome and is the reason why it's good. I felt like, I believed the lyrics in this. I could hear the emotion in his voice. Sometimes I hear this song and I feel it almost like it's a smooth jazz song that should be played in a cabaret nightclub, that kind of thing. And then other times I hear it and I'm like, wow, this is a really hot and sexy song. And I bounce between those two feelings on it. There's keyboard in this song. There's, like I said, they're not synth either. This is keyboards. It's hard to make it work. It sort of works in this song. Sometimes I don't really like it. It sounds a bit like the band Europe, maybe, where the keyboards don't always work in the song. Yeah.
Good observation.
I have to be in the right mood for this because sometimes I go, oh, it's good. And sometimes I'm like, ooh, it's a little cringy. The music is smooth, though. So here's a weird observation. There's a nice guitar solo in this song, but I want it to be a saxophone.
Oh, yeah. or even... Yeah, what's the song? Now I can't remember. We did it on the other show. It was I think it was one of the bonus tracks where the solo was split half guitar, half saxophone.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
I think that could have worked here. We need the Lost Boys saxophone player. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, the big...
You can remember, in the purple pants.
Yeah, with his purple leather pants.
Yes.
I forget his name. Hold on.
We need
find
him to play on this song.
I fucking agree.
And I honestly think they tried on the solo. They did
Tim Capello.
Tim Capello.
Yeah.
I think they did a little bit of distortion on the guitar solo, almost trying to make it feel like a saxophone without being a saxophone.
It might have been his inspiration, what he was going for.
Yeah.
It should have been a saxophone.
Yeah, and the drums, my note on the drums is they're very nightclub smooth.
Yeah, our nightclub smooth. Dude, Lisa, you could really hear David Coverdale, like, kind of, like, the struggle the producer was having. Like, the producer was like, we're not making an old Whitesnake album. We're making the hair metal version. And you can feel the pull kind of back and forth. Like you said, it kind of goes in and out of focus where you sort of start hearing him, like, slip back into Slide It In some of those older albums. And then the producer's like, and he pulls it back.
Pull him back. Yeah,
totally. Lisa, have you ever seen the movie Trick or Treat, the anthology?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the story with the werewolf girls?
Yes.
Dude, that should have been Lost Boys 2, right?
Yes. Oh my
Like
god.
they should have made that into a fucking movie. That should have
Yes.
been its own movie. Like the girls are on the
Oh,
boardwalk, they're fucking
totally.
luring in the guys and then eating them as werewolves.
Yes,
Oh
vampire
god.
sirens.
Yes. Oh, there. That's the yes. So Lost Boys 2,
Two
Vampire,
vampire
Sirens.
sirens.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, good, good. Okay, track number 7, Children of the Night. So this is another supporting song that's bordering on being a filler. It's not a hit, but it's really good. And this one has one of the strongest bridges on the album. I really loved it. I kind of wish it went into like a more fluent, better chorus, but it's fine. And Dave, I'm sure you noticed this bridge has the greasiest fucking guitar lick over it. He's playing this busy ass lick over this bridge. Oh, I'm so impressed. It's really great. But there was a problem. This is it, Lisa. I noticed one line in this song where Dave struggles. It's when he yells, "Don't run for cover," right? It is noticeably strained.
Yeah,
He is
pitchy.
noticeably pitchy to the point where I went, "Oh."
Yep.
And I was very surprised that it made it onto this almost perfect album. How did this-
Especially with the producers that were on this album, because you would have thought they would have made him do it until he hit it pitch perfect. And
Yep.
they didn't. They took a raw cut of it.
And what I feel must have happened was this is when he pulled back towards his rock days and went, I like the feel of that.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
real.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's feel. You can't all be
Yeah.
perfect and polished. And I like the way I hit it. And the producer probably fought with him and was like, oh, fuck it. He's not going to bend on this. Huge mistake. Dave.
A kick-ass rocker here. Lyrics are not super deep, but the song works. Cool picked guitar licks that remind me of Jakey Lee a little bit, another underrated guitarist.
Fuck yeah.
Some whammy bar madness to open up the solo, and then shred-alicious licks after that.
Nice.
The end of the solo is a little awkward. They could have smoothed that transition out a little bit. Also, Coverdale commits the songwriting sin of repeating the first verse because he's too lazy to write a final one.
Dude, I've done that so many times.
Oh, me too.
Especially now that I've got the doc, because I can just like cut and paste. Like I'll
Copy.
just take the whole copy and just move it over and be like, yeah, that's perfect.
Sure.
Maybe I'll sing like one different line. What do you got, Lisa? Dude, it's so funny too. After I said my thing, I wasn't sure if like Lisa had already gone because I took an edible right when we started.
Oh, no.
So it's starting to hit. And then the next song, I'm looking at it so I can set myself and I go, Starlight for the Heart. I was like, what's that? Yeah, so that's where we're at now. Lisa, go ahead.
Okay, Children of the Night. I like the gritty guitar opening. It's more glam metal than we've had in the past couple songs. Strong drums in the beginning, and I'm really getting into it. And then comes the pre-chorus, and he says, don't hide what you feel inside. Don't let anybody stand in your way. Just let the music take you higher. And it's delivered in this really weird way. And look, Des is jamming out to this as I'm speaking it. My note is, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Do you remember in 9 Inch Nails when you didn't like
row,
that
row your boat.
Rain, Rain, Go Away? You hated that. This is my Rain, Rain, Go Away. I hate it so much, and I wish it wasn't in this song, because then it goes into the chorus and it's good again, and it like starts to rock again, and I'm liking it. But I'm sitting there like, what just happened? Like, why did they leave that in there? That was awful. How is it good now? Like, it's very unstable in this song. It goes back and forth from like gritty metal to like this sing-song softness that makes me go, ugh, and I don't like it. And then the guitar solo comes in, it's great again, and then it goes soft, and I'm like, yuck. And by the end of this song, I'm very confused. The only thing I can say about this song is that I'm noticing a formulaic way of how the songs are put together, with the way the verse is structured and how the pre-chorus comes in and where the guitar solo is. It's the same in every song, and I started really to notice it when I got to this song on the album. I feel like this was pieced together from 2 separate songs. Like, there's a sing-songy, older, slow song, and there's a gritty rock song, and they put them both together, and I didn't really like it that much.
Lisa's like the prosecutor on this episode, and she literally,
Yeah.
dude, one, she's talking my score down of the whole album. Like, it's already like she's convincing me. Like, I'm like, she's making very good points. And then I was like, I love that fucking bridge. It's such a good bridge. Yeah, how much you feel inside? I'm like, yeah,
it doesn't belong there.
You know what? You might be right. You might be right. Okay. Hot take. That bridge sucks. Track number 8. Straight for the Heart, not Starlight for the Heart. This one was weird for me. It feels like a soundtrack for an 80s coming of age movie. I mean, am I right? Like this album does not belong in this song. This is like that weird Cheap Trick song they did for fucking Top Gun, right?
Yeah,
It's
Mighty Wings.
This is Whitesnake's Mighty Wings, okay? The chorus, it's almost incredible in a pop 80s weird movie soundtrack kind of way, but the whole song feels rushed. The tempo is oddly fast.
That's exactly my note.
Like, it almost, like, seriously, especially in the chorus, right? It almost feels like they accidentally, like, hit the fucking tempo speed thing and played it like a quarter faster than it was supposed to be, and then, like, just forgot and mastered it, and then, like, it came out in stores, and the producer was like, oh, shit! I had that thing on 1.8. Fuck. I don't know. Dave, did you hear it the same way?
Uh-oh, is this Bon Jovi?
Uh-oh.
Sweet intro guitar solo. Once again, lyrics are not super deep, but we are not looking to Whitesnake for deep introspection.
No.
Murderous guitar solo, very nice. The solo ends with some very pretty notes. Definitely listenable song. It was okay, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was okay. Lisa.
Oh my God. I don't think you guys are going to like me after this one. So super cheesy 80s opening, super cheesy guitar riff in the beginning, and the vocals come in, and what is happening here? And then the horrible 80s bad keyboards come in, and I'm like, oh my God, stand and deliver in the name of love. And then I'm thinking, like, does this sound like Dawkins? And then I'm like, oh no, it's getting worse, right? It's getting worse. It is poppy and annoying, and it's like they took every bad, cheesy 80s lyric and just wrote them all down in random order and just sang them. It's just awful. But then when you were saying about the fast forward, so half of my notes are about how I think they pressed fast forward on this. Even the guitar solo feels rushed. Now, let me just say, the guitar solo is actually very pretty, but I feel like he was rushing. And I think he was rushing because he wanted this song to end. This is just awful. Please make it stop.
Dude, it so is. And what's it doing on this album? Right? Like, seriously, why is this song on this album? It doesn't belong on this album.
No. And they made it fast so it would be over sooner.
Oh, man. Dave, I don't know. Is your score coming down a little bit?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want
All right, let's
to.
go.
I'm not trying to like change your scores. You know, you certainly don't have to agree with me. I'm just
Okay.
telling you what I think.
Listen, you're making some good points. Okay, track number 9, Don't Turn Away. I'm not sure this should have been the last song on the album, but it's fine. This song has some great ideas in it. The chorus has some really nice vocal melodies and notes that don't go where what I expect them to go. Like, 'cause I hadn't heard this song in forever. So I put it on, and I was kind of, I kind of felt like I knew where it was going to go with his melody and his notes in the chorus, and they went in a different direction. I always think that's fun. I like the simple lyrics in the chorus here. Very easy to remember. They're not great lyrics, but they make sense and they're just easy to remember. So, I mean, it's good. Is it a hit? No, but it's a decent song. It kind of sends the album off with a little bit of a fizzle, though, unfortunately. Dave.
Oh, yeah. The dramatic beginning. Song is just okay. It does kind of have the Whitesnake sound to it. A great guitar solo, of course. I'm just going to go into the guitar gear a little bit.
Yeah.
For those of everybody who are not familiar with John Sykes. The main guitar he used was his 1978 Gibson Les Paul Custom. with a 1961 Fender Stratocaster used on the clean parts.
I
His
like it.
amp was a little bit of an unusual selection. It's a Mesa Boogie Coliseum head, which actually is a 180 watt amp, which is amazingly powerful. Most pro guitar amps are 50 watts or 100 watts. 180 is crazy, and he would multi-track his guitar parts, so that gives you that really big layered kind of tone we're hearing throughout the album. So I mean, he's got 2, 3, 4 tracks of guitars going on at any time or more. The ending of this song copies a little bit the Still of the Night ending, at least the feel. So yeah, it's a kind of a bad choice to send us out on this album. Could have used a little better tune to take away, but
Dave, at
It's
least
okay.
he did. At least he did away with the wedding singer fucking endings, like on that one album, when every fucking ending sounded like fucking Robbie from the Wedding Singer.
boom. Psh, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was terrible. Lisa, what'd you think about this one for the final track?
I don't know why they ended a album with a slow song. I usually don't like that. I want something
Hate that.
upbeat. Yeah, I want it upbeat at the end of the album. This isn't a terrible song for me. The lyrics are just okay, not very creative at all. I feel like, do you remember when we talked about Smoke and Shadows on Vane's album, and we were like, oh, they needed a successful power ballad, but they didn't quite get there with Smoke and Shadows? I feel
Yep.
like this song is kind of like that. They were going for a power ballad format. It's not there. It's not impactful. It didn't have that punch. The thing I like on this, I actually like the keyboards on this. There's this nice, like, sustained keyboard synth note behind everything, which gives it like a nice atmosphere. I actually kind of liked that. It's just boring to me. It's boring. I didn't mind listening to it, but I'm probably not going to listen to it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in hearing this song again, really.
Yeah.
But everything on the album was fine. There was nothing that was a pothole. You know what I mean?
Guitar solo's nice on this one. It always is. I mean, I've said it on every song. The guitars are great on this album. And I feel like these guys are more talented than what this album is.
I feel like I got talked out of giving Dangerous Toys' first album a better score. That fucking album was better than it got fucking scored. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
Dangerous Toys. Oh
That
my
fucking
God.
first album kicks ass. Jason McMaster's fucking rips. Okay. That's it. So we've broken down the album. I hate to say it, but I was really glowing when we started this, and my glow has definitely
I'm so
turned down a
sorry.
little. It's
Why
true,
are you
though.
listening to me?
No. I was getting high. I was drinking the Kool-Aid.
I don't want to yuck your yum. You
I
know?
was drinking the
I
Kool-Aid.
support everybody else's opinions on everything. If you love it, that's great for you. So.
I'm not old. It's not like I got my David Coverdale poster on the wall. We can't listen to the album.
You've
I
got
just
the
think
wig in the closet, though, don't
I
you?
got a little too excited listening to this album today. All right, so let's do some favorite songs. What songs we cut and we'll remove and replace. So my favorite song on the album, obviously, is "Still of the Night" because it's the best Whitesnake album, best Whitesnake song ever. Closely followed by "Slide It In." Song I would cut, "Children of the Night." It's fine. I'd take it off this album though. I would remove Ainsley Dunbar on drums, and I would replace him with, and I know we go to this guy a lot and it feels fucking lazy, but I think Tommy Lee would have been great on this album. And if you would like a less obvious drummer, then we will go with Bobby Blotzer from Rat, because either one of those guys,
that's a good one.
yeah, would have rocked this album hard.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you got?
Favorite track, Still of the Night.
Yeah.
And I would cut Straight for the Heart. It's a little cheesy, and it just doesn't have the uniqueness of Whitesnake. Anybody could have played that song. And for the replacement, I'm actually going to add Jakey Lee as a co-lead guitarist. Guitar Madness.
Nice.
I love Guitar Madness. Yeah,
Too
a
much
fucking honey
guitar.
pot. Yeah, a big fucking honey pot full of guitar. Dude, I would like to also change the song I would cut to that fucking gay 80s song as well. Okay. But Lisa, go.
Favorite track, obviously, is Still of the Night. It is one of the best songs of the 80s. Definitely the best song of that era. I'm going to cut straight for the heart. I hated it. It was awful. Please make it stop and go away. And this is funny because this is the first album where I had no trouble at all. Like, I actually had trouble like trying to figure out which song to cut because there were so many songs I didn't like. Whereas on the other albums, I struggled to find a song to cut. Right, so this one was easier. So it says replace one member, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna play a little game here. So my first thought is I want to replace the band with the band in the video. First of all,
Yeah.
So like the
Okay.
whole band, because that's a great lineup, to be fair. And nothing against John Sykes, he is a great guitarist. I'm not saying he's not, but the lineup in the video was fantastic. But if that's not a fair pick, I'm gonna replace David Coverdale with Mike Tramp from White Lion.
Dude, you know what though? That's amazing because he is like the young, sexy version of fucking
Yeah,
David
with a
Cover-
great voice. With a
Listen,
great voice.
When David Coverdale looks in the mirror, he sees Mike Tramp. Okay, he's like, God damn, I look good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking great. And
But there's so many good guitarists in this lineup, old, new, removed, not removed. Just like how do you kick them out, right?
I'm pretty sure an album with Adrian Vandenberg and Vivian Campbell is packing some fucking good solos.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Beautiful. Nice job, everybody. Let's do some final thoughts and we'll score this thing. I think I have to go last year because I'm not going to get caught with my pants around my ankles with some weird fucking inflated score. Okay, so Dave, go ahead. Tell me what you think.
All right. Well, this album is great. It's a shame the guitar player didn't get along personally with David Coverdale. So this was the end of their working relationship. If they didn't replace the band, I think John Sykes would be a way bigger deal than he was and is. I don't know. I think he's out there still working on music. Maybe after Whitesnake, he went on to form the band Blue Murder. They had one or two hits, but not quite the level of this. But that guy would have been huge if he was the guy in the videos with Tawny Kitaen and all this shit. Yep. But great music. Much of it is timeless classics. Like Lisa said, the 80s tribute albums and compilations and the Geico commercials and stuff like that.
And let's remember that Dave's band plays Still of the Night.
Do you really?
Even today. So
That's fucking awesome. Who plays the...
I play it.
Oh, nice. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, it's probably Whitesnake's best album. I'm going to score it at 85.
In case David Coverdale is looking for a guitar player, Dave
Dave is
Yeah.
can
available.
play that part. So he's available. Okay. Dave is always looking for a gig. I'm sorry. What was the score again?
85.
85. Okay. God, my score was way too high. Way too high. That's obscene. Lisa, go ahead.
Okay. I feel like there's a couple hits on this song. There's no denying it. And there are things that are going to be memorable for long past when we're gone, right? Still of the Night. What's the other one?
Here I Go Again.
Here I Go Again. Those are going to outlast us. And, you can't question that, right? But I feel like they're dressing up as a band that they aren't. I feel like this is a costume performance. I don't like how uncomfortable they look playing. I prefer the video band to the actual band on the album, but I'm just going to say this. There's no denying that there is a lot of amazing musicians involved in this, a lot of great guitarists. They all work together beautifully. I almost wonder why this album wasn't better with all of the talent that was there. And I almost feel like maybe some of the people in the bands, had they left this band and done something on their own, they would have been even more successful because there was so much talent here. I feel like they were stifled by something, and I don't know what that something is. I don't know if it was Dave Coverdale. There's some, talk about how difficult he was to work with. I don't know if they were constrained by the producers, but I feel like there was a lot of unrealized talent in this band. I'm probably not going to listen to this album ever again all the way through. If you want to say it's Whitesnake's greatest album, I'd probably agree with that. I don't listen to anything else but this, really, by them. My final score, and please don't hate me, is 52.
So average for you.
Yeah,
Even though it's
average.
got
You can't
Still the Night.
deny the good songs on here. You
Okay.
know, but the rest of it pulls it down so much, and I just feel like these guys are so much better than what they put into this album. They really are.
Yeah, you made a lot of good points. I'm going to tell you, you brought me down a little bit. Okay, so my original score was a 93.7. That was way too high. That was way too high. There's no way there's a 93.7. So Dave went 85. I have to stay true to myself. I think we're going to go 86.1. 86.1. That's my score.
Yeah, right.
Should have given it a 69 because I think it would have been perfect. David Coverdale is just such a ladies' man, you know.
Yep, sure is.
Okay. So we guys calculate the score and tell us how many watts Whitesnake is pushing.
Okay, on the Violent Vinyl album chart, Whitesnake's original album called Whitesnake, and sometimes called 1987, is 74.37, putting them at slot 4 of 4 under
Which-
Vane's No Respect.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is better than Vane's No Respect, like, as far as like a catalog. Like, I'm guessing David Coverdale is probably getting bigger checks than Davey Vane.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Vane is still playing now, and Whitesnake is not.
All right, listen. Still the Night is on this album.
I get
And Vane
it.
is better. I think that our system has failed us in this instant, but that's okay.
But
That's
as a
okay.
total piece of work, like, I feel like every song on No Respect is beautiful. And here, I don't feel that. I understand the value of the big hits on this album. I do. But
There is no universe where that Vane album is better than this album. I love
disagree.
Listen, I love that Vane album. It's so cool, but I mean, come on. We're talking about SpaghettiOs and like chicken parm.
No.
Okay. Perfect. So that's it. We've done it. I have got the next pick, and I have got a great album. I think I haven't listened to it in a long time, so maybe not. But I've got a great pick that I cannot believe has not been done on the old show or this show yet. We are going to be discussing Poison's Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Oh, perfection.
There it is. And it's Halloween coming up, so we're going to stick in that vein. They're all dressed up like women. It's perfect.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's it. We're doing that next. That'll be 2 weeks. So go ahead, break that album down so you can follow along with the conversation. We
I
did
can't believe you guys didn't do that one already. Like, this is...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a
It's
major player. So.
major player in the field. Absolutely. Last week we did Trick or Treat on Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? We're taking this week off because the wife is going away for a couple of days. Yay, get to hang out with my cat alone in the house and do weird stuff. If you listen to the old show, you probably know what's going on. It's not
Ew.
pretty.
Ew.
No, stop. Come on. No. So that's it. And we will be back with Money for Nothing on Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? When we come back, John Cusack vehicle. So there you go. Until next time, take the albums out of the sleeve and let the music breathe. See you next time.